What's going on, everybody? I'm David, and this is our family small shop, Mickey and Mandy. We're Disney adults that create custom bags, screen printed shirts, and handmade home decor inspired by everybody's favorite magical theme parks. And let me tell you, we've had so much fun with the must-do attractions over at the Magic Kingdom and at Epcot that we're going to keep that going with Disney's Hollywood Studios, or MGM, whatever you decide to call it. Disney's Hollywood Studios, in its early stages as a concept, was really just supposed to be its own pavilion over at Epcot, believe it or not. But the idea just kept growing and growing and growing, and let's be real, there was some competition with Universal Studios opening up right down the road, that they finally just decided to say, whatever, let's make it its own theme park. And that's exactly what they did. In 1989, Disney's Hollywood Studios opened as its own theme park and a working studio. And when the park opened, it was meant to be sort of this opportunity for Disney to peel back the curtain and show its guests how the magic of films come to be. And over the decades, Disney's Hollywood Studios has gone through some major identity change. Some would call it an identity crisis, because it's not really about peeling back the curtain anymore. It's about immersing their guests into the world of their favorite films, TV, music, and more. Disney's Hollywood Studios is my personal favorite park, so there's going to be a lot of passion behind these must-dos. There's also so much to do at this park. I don't think I've ever seen it just not busy. So let's jump into the Disney's Hollywood Studios must-dos from Mickey and Mandy. Just like with Magic Kingdom and Epcot, we're going to try to do one attraction from each land. So pull on that yellow strap and let's go. For the first Mickey and Mandy Disney's Hollywood Studios must-do, we're going to head off to Toy Story Land. At Toy Story Land, you're shrunken down to the size of a toy in Andy's backyard, and you are invited by Woody, Buzz, Jessie, and the rest of the Toy Story gang to hang out with them for a little while. Not really any misses over in Toy Story Land, with some pretty good dining and awesome attractions and incredible details. But the true staple attraction over here is Toy Story Midway Mania. On Toy Story Mania, you are welcomed by Mr. Potato Head to partake in a wide variety of carnival games ran by your favorite Toy Story characters. Games like the ring toss, dart throw, and the egg toss. This attraction is so much fun, and for me, a little bit easier to track my targets than on Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin over at the Magic Kingdom. And again, I do have a lot of fun on this attraction, but if I can toot my own horn, it's probably just because I'm so good at it. The line for this attraction can get a little bit on the longer side, so if you are planning on rope dropping Toy Story Land during your visit, I would actually plan on doing Toy Story Mania first, because everybody else is going to make their way over to Slinky Dog Dash. No matter what though, definitely worth checking out during your next visit to Disney's Hollywood Studios. For the next Mickey and Mandy Disney's Hollywood Studios must-do, we're going to blast off to a galaxy far, far away to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. At Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, you are blasted off to Black Spire Outpost on the planet of Batuu. And here you can eat and drink as the locals do, build your very own lightsaber or your very own droid, partake in bounty hunter missions, fly the Millennium Falcon, get a drink at the local cantina, or be a part of your very own unique Star Wars adventure aboard Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. On Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, you are recruited by the Resistance and you are on your way to your next secret base, when you are intercepted by the First Order and taken prisoner aboard one of their Star Destroyers, and then you have to make a daring escape. It really isn't fair to call this an attraction because it really truly is an experience. It is unlike anything that Disney has ever done before in any one of their theme parks, and it is a must-do not just for your next visit to Disney's Hollywood Studios, but for any given Star Wars fan. I'll be honest with you all, I wish I had a good strategy for when to do this attraction, but honestly, you might just have to own the fact that you're going to have to get a Lightning Lane reservation. Everybody goes to rope drop this attraction first thing in the morning, and the line is consistently long all day long. It does go down sometimes, so a lot of people like to stick it out in that line. If this is something that is on your must-do list and it is not a trip to Disney's Hollywood Studios, if you don't do it, I know it's not great, but I would just take the hit. Get the Lightning Lane reservation, that way you're guaranteed a spot on Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Okay, that was a lot of adventure, so we're going to come back down to earth a little bit, and we're going to take a trip back in time to Old Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard for the next Mickey and Mandy must-do. On Sunset Boulevard, you are transported back to a version of Hollywood that never was and can only exist in our imagination. And there are some attractions on Sunset Boulevard that are going to be getting a facelift here pretty soon, as Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith is going to allow the Muppets to move in. And the Disney villains are actually taking over Lightning McQueen Racing Academy with a brand new show coming soon. But one attraction that is not going anywhere anytime soon is the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Easily in my top 3 of Disney attractions. Let's talk about it. For the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, you find yourself almost drawn to this old decrepit hotel at the end of Sunset Boulevard, the place where the next big thing at Hollywood back in the day would be staying. But as you get closer to the hotel, you start to hear the screams from the outside. As you make your way through the queue, you start to see all the plants that have been overgrown, and the cobwebs in the lobby, and the personal belongings, the luggage, the mail that was left behind very suddenly. And you learn that 5 people stepped through the door of one of these elevators and mysteriously disappeared, and the hotel has been empty ever since. And that's when the ride really takes off. Now, I will say that if you are not a fan of drop rides, maybe consider sitting this attraction out. But this is worth going on because the details that went into this attraction are unmatched. The storytelling that goes into the Tower of Terror is insane. I am personally not a big fan of drop rides. They do kind of scare me, but I am willing to brave that fear every single time because I love the storytelling and the homework that the Imagineers put into this attraction. Now, when it comes to should I stand in a standby line or get a lightning lane, it does kind of have to be a gut call. With everything else going on at Disney's Hollywood Studios right now and in the future, I haven't seen the line for Tower of Terror long in a very long time. But that doesn't mean that the line won't be long during peak seasons. So make sure you check out the My Disney Experience app, take a look at the wait time, and see if you are willing to sit in that line or if you would rather get a lightning lane reservation. No matter what though, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, an absolute must-do attraction your next visit to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Okay, so that was still a lot of excitement, but before we get on to the last of the Mickey and Mandy Disney's Hollywood Studios must-dos, I do want to take this very quick opportunity to say that if you haven't already, go check out our family's small shop, mickeyandmandy.com. My mom makes handmade and customizable bags. My sister and I get to design screen printed shirts, and me and my dad get to make handmade home decor. Disney is our love, creating is our passion, and we want to share that with you and add just a little bit of that Disney Parks magic into your life or your next trip to the parks. So be sure to check us out. That's mickeyandmandy.com. Now on with the show. So for the last of the Disney's Hollywood Studios must-dos, I'm going to kind of clump the rest of the park into one little unit. So this includes Echo Lake, Hollywood Boulevard, Animation Courtyard, Commissary Lane, and Grand Avenue. The reason I'm kind of lumping all 5 of these into one land at Disney's Hollywood Studios is because for some of these, there's really just the one attraction in that land. So it kind of disqualifies for a must-do in that area if there's just the one thing. But if you combine them all, there's a lot of must-dos, so let's take a look. For the first attraction in this group of lands at Disney's Hollywood Studios, we're going to head over to, believe it or not, Star Tours, The Adventures Continue. Not an attraction that I think appears on a lot of people's must-do lists, but hear me out. This is an attraction that, since it's not in Galaxy's Edge, they're not really limited to that same line of canon. They can update this attraction with what is new and exciting from the Star Wars universe. So 2 trips ago, when I did this attraction, I saw Yoda and Darth Vader, and we went to the Naboo. But then when I did this attraction last summer, I saw Ahsoka, and we went to the planet that had the giant space force whale things. It was fun. Since they are always updating this attraction, you are never going to get necessarily the same experience twice. Also, since there are other Star Wars experiences at Disney's Hollywood Studios, like Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run or Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, I have not found that Star Tours has had a very long wait time in a minute. So give it a chance. The next Mickey and Mandy must-do in this clump of lands at Disney's Hollywood Studios is actually kind of a limited time offer. But while you can, we recommend going and checking out Muppet Vision 3D before it goes away forever later this June of 2025. Muppet Vision 3D is a classic 3D effects show with some, in my opinion, phenomenal jokes and that classic Muppet style sense of humor. I'm also a huge Muppet fan. I love the Muppets. I love this show. I was initially saddened to hear that this was going away until I heard that it was because they were putting the new Monsters Inc. land in its place, and that Muppets are going to be moving into G-Force Records over at Rock and Roller Coaster. So for me, everybody kind of comes out a winner here. But again, Muppet Vision 3D's days are numbered over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, so be sure you check it out before it closes later this summer. And for the last of the Mickey and Mandy Disney's Hollywood Studios must-do attractions, we're going to head over to Hollywood Boulevard for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Here you enter the Chinese theater and you get to actually walk into the world of the wonderful world of Mickey Mouse cartoons. Probably the most wacky interpretation of Mickey Mouse in my opinion. But here it's just a leisure train ride through the park, and then naturally everything goes wrong. And the trackless ride system of this attraction allows you to go through the desert, under the ocean, down a waterfall, through the big city, and then right back to the park. It is a lot of fun. It is a tame experience. I don't want the description to make it sound like that this is a roller coaster by any means. Little ones will have a ball on this ride. And anybody who is a fan of just the wacky world of those Mickey Mouse cartoons are really going to get a kick out of this attraction. Honestly, the queue for this attraction is not as much fun as the one in Disneyland. So I would just recommend getting the Lightning Lane reservation. I wouldn't even bother with standby unless it was a walk-on. But no matter what, still worth checking out your next visit to Disney's Hollywood Studios. And those are the Mickey and Mandy must-dos over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Disney adults, let us know in the comments, were there any attractions that we missed? What is your must-do experience over at Disney's Hollywood Studios? Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos where we dive deep into some of our handmade products available on our small shop, or any future Disney Parks content. Because remember, we are going to Disney World later this year, so there's going to be lots of videos surrounding that trip and some of the shirts and bags that we're going to be wearing in the parks. And also be sure, if you're not already, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads so you don't miss out on any future sales that we're going to be running and new products that we drop. But more importantly, everybody, we thank you very much for being here. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you real soon.